guys, welcome back to another episode of Baking with Bob. I hope you're all doing well. Thank you to all my new subscribers, or if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to press that bell icon and the subscribe button so you can be notified of anything that I do in the future. And on that note, what are we doing today? You may have guessed already from the thumbnail. Yes, we are doing the broccoli and cheese soup, which I had promised to one of the viewers that had commented in one of the social media groups, which you can find along the bottom of the screen here. So spit my words out. Please feel free to contact me on any of the social medias below. So, what are we going to need today? Today, we are going to need, let me check my list, 1 stalk of celery. I tend to slice it down the middle, then slice each half down again and cut into little pieces. Half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 chicken stock cube, I'm using the Knorr ones, double cream 100ml, 4 tablespoons of cream cheese, 100 grams of hard cheese, so I'm using cheddar, 150 grams of broccoli, just the heads, 3 tablespoons of butter, 100 grams of cauliflower, a dash of salt, a dash of pepper, 50 grams of Stilton cheese chopped up into bits, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And that is it. This will give you per portion, which will make about 3 portions, at 5.6 grams of carb per bowl, which will also go really well with the cheese biscuits, cheese straws that I did the other week. I will leave a link at the top and in the description below for you. You can also do this with the fathead dough, garlic bread or plain bread. I will leave a link to that in the description as well. So, let's crack on. First thing we're going to want to do is put some oil in our pan, heat that up and put the celery in to start to get that to soften. So let's crack on. Let's get our pan on to a nice high heat. Pop in our olive oil and let that come to temperature. What I will do is I will fast forward through the bits where I just have to wait for things to come to temperature or things that are boiling and whatever. You will see them in the edit, so I will fast forward through those for you just to make it a lot easier and to try and keep this video nice and short. Okay, so in goes my celery, and you're going to want to put this in with the oil and just start to soften it up. I want you to pretend that the celery is an onion, because that's what I use the celery for in quite a lot of recipes. I'm not the only one that does it, obviously, but there's a lot less carbs in a piece of celery than there is half an onion, and you get a very similar taste, I find, especially in things like soups. I also did it in my lasagna recipe, and many, many more. But yes, I like to use the celery because I can save back a few of the carbs. Okay, so now that the celery has started to cook through, what I want you to do next is I want you to tip all of your broccoli and cauliflower into that mix. Like so. Then I want you to add into that about 1.5 litres of water. There we go. So once you have your 1.5 litres of water in with the oil and the celery, I want you to let that come to a boil, and I want you to boil it until your vegetables are just starting to turn soft. So I'll be back with you once the boil has finished in a few moments. So see you in a moment. Okay, welcome back. So it's been about 10-15 minutes. As you should be able to see from the other camera, the water has reduced down, my vegetables have started to go in, again with my words. The vegetables, the broccoli and the cauliflower started to go nice and soft. So what we're going to do in a moment is break that up and add the rest of the ingredients. First thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to ibreatheimhungry.com, because back in about about 2017, maybe early, no, it was the summer, so 2017, I found this recipe which was called low carb cream of broccoli soup, which I've made a few times actually from their website, and I did really enjoy it. The only thing was, I prefer my cheese and broccoli soup to be stronger cheese, which is why I've gone with the Stilton and the cheddar to mix it up. And then I've also liked to mix the cauliflower with the broccoli as well, bulk it out a bit more, a few less carbs. So yeah, so there are some changes in there, but yes, I'd definitely like to give a shout out to them because that's where I first learned how to make the broccoli and cheese soup. So let's crack on with the next bit. So with a spoon, I want you to just start to mush your vegetables, just so they start to break up a little bit. Just makes the next stages a lot easier. Now, I'm not sure if that camera's all steamed up, but here we go. So, I've mushed those in slightly, just with the side of the spoon, just to break them up. So next, what do we want? Next, I want you to add half a teaspoon of your onion granules. And just chuck that in like so. And the same again with garlic granules. And chuck those in like so. And then I want you to salt and pepper to taste. I like a lot of pepper in mine. And then I want you to add in your stock cube. So let's crumble that stock cube in. Don't worry if you don't crumble it completely, it will dissolve within the boiling water. There we go, that goes in. Then next I want you to add your butter. Hopefully I've got enough left. Just melt that off the spoon. So next I want you to just dollop in your cream cheese. So 1, 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of your cream cheese to go in, and then give that a little bit of a stir in. Brilliant. Once that's dissolved in, I then want you to add 100 ml of cream. And stir again. Okay, so next, once that comes back up to a gentle simmer, like so, I want you to add in your cheese. So first I'm going to add in my Stilton cheese. I'm adding my Stilton first because I didn't grate it. I cut it into lumps because it's much easier than grating it because it just crumbles otherwise. And then you want to stir that in. Stop it from sticking to the bottom and make sure it all gets nice and melted in there. And once you think that's melted, you can add your cheddar cheese into the mix. Try not to spill it, there we go. Add all of that cheese in. And stir till that's melted. Okay, so once that's all in and you think that all your cheese is nice and melted, I want you to leave this to simmer so it reduces down even more. If you do like a really thick soup, then you can add some xanthan gum, can't even say it now, xanthan gum, here, I'll show you. Xanthan gum to the mix to help thicken it up. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to leave mine to simmer, and that's going to evaporate some of the water off and let that thicken up. If you want to add more cheese, please feel free to add more cheese. What I normally do now while that's simmering away is I would probably make some kind of fathead dough cheese straws, or the garlic breads, or a plain bread, whatever you want really. Like I say, these recipes are always for you, and they're for you to adapt and just to basically learn from. So yes, I'm going to leave that to simmer and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, welcome back. So it's been a few more minutes. I have let that simmer and reduce down a little bit more. you can reduce it down even more if you want it thicker, like I said. If not, if you want it more of a runny soup, completely up to you. Next stage, what's the next stage? We're going to use a stick blender. Now you can put this in a liquidizer, but I recommend letting it cool down first, because obviously you don't want to break your liquidizer. I have had a cheap one break on me before, it cracked. Same with the liquidizer. I would recommend letting it cool down a little bit first in case it splashes everywhere. What I tend to do, because I'm in a rush, is I'm going to pop the lid over the top and blitz through the lid just so you can see the recipe. So I'm just going to give that one final stir. I've got my stick blender. I'm going to put the lid over like so and put the blender in. I find pulsing it a lot better than continuous. Okay, so I have now blitzed that all up. That soup is now ready to serve, or you can pop it into let it cool down, pop it into a container, leave it in the fridge. It can last quite a few days in the fridge in an airtight container. It can also be frozen. Other alterations you can make to this is if you don't want it half cauliflower, half broccoli, you can have it all broccoli, which obviously will make it a much darker green. That's about it from me. So thank you again if you've watched this far. If you have a go at this or have any questions or recommendations, please hit me up on the social medias that you can see below. You can also send pictures if you have a go. That's it from me this week. So again, that was your broccoli and Stilton cheese soup with 5.6 grams of carbs per bowl. And I will see you next time.